good event. Randy Burdett and Jacob Fry lined this up. It's not easy, and Nike to cooperate and give us a chance to do something that's unique and really cool. I think it was well received, and I think people around the country actually enjoyed this type of thing. And I know our fans did, and there's merch to buy, and you do feel an obligation to deliver the result and perform when you draw up a special event like this. And it was very difficult, but we kept at it, and the guys were competing, and they were able to get it done. Vaughn, when you look at it, I know as we break this down, it probably doesn't sound that this would be the case, but he executed some pitches maybe a little bit better than it would have shown. Obviously, the stuff would tell you maybe there were some things with the secondary pitches that weren't quite sharp enough. Meeble, to go to him, they had a lot of lefties, more lefties, and it seemed like they normally play. So we wanted to get Meeble in there, and he had thrown well in his previous work. And then Johnny, to settle in and do that. It's fun to watch players develop and grow and learn their craft, and you're watching a guy that really has figured out how he needs to pitch for him to be at his best. It's really, really special to watch. The power changeups he was throwing, some of the breaking balls, the fastball movement and sink, and even it was up at times today a little bit when he wanted to go up, but power changeup, breaking ball, good stuff. And we were hoping if we could manage this thing to maybe give him a day, because he's worked a lot, and you guys know that. But we haven't overextended the pitch count in any capacity, so we thought the way that game went, clearly we needed some help there at the end, and he did a good job. Putnam, to have that kind of at-bat at the end, like he's really hit some balls hard. The exit velocities will tell you there's a lot of impact and things that are happening with not much to show. So it was good for him to get that opportunity and get that breaking ball and bang that thing. Stutzer continues to grow and learn and play. It's fun to watch. Brody was back for a little bit and then had another flare-up in the concussion protocol, so that was that for him. But, man, he had two good at-bats. I thought Carnes caught and blocked as well as you could ask somebody to block. There were some critical blocks that he made throughout the course of the game. I thought he just settled the ball, and that thing was soft right in front of him. The two double plays were nice to watch. The 1-4-3, you don't see that very often, and then the 3-6-1. And those are big. Proud of the guys. It's tough. When you're down 5-0, you draw all this up, here you go, and it's 5-0 in 5 minutes. That's tough. And it was good to see the at-bats in the bottom of the first crank up, and off we went, and we're able to crawl back in that game. But JU, you can see why they are what they are, and they have a 340 team batting average. It's dangerous, and they can run the bases. That's athletic. Chris does a good job with the guys. They're tough.
The 14 strikeouts were a concern, or something that just is not wrong?
That's bad. We're trying to do so much with working on the pitch selection, but in the fourth inning, we struck out 3 times in a row looking. And you want to pick pitches. You really have that opportunity early in the count. You could be really picky about what you swing at. But when you get into the 2-strike counts, you have to open that thing up a little bit, and clearly there were some tough at-bats. And I don't know that I'd seen a team punch out looking in the middle of a game 3 times in a row in a critical period of the game. So I hope we can grow through some of this, but there's a lot of things that we need to wrap our hands around at the plate to be a little bit more consistent. That game, we were fortunate to win it, but there were moments in that game scattered throughout the game where I think we could have separated a bit and didn't. But we're going to have to figure that out. Well, there's so much game left, and we've got good pitching options, and when that happened, you just feel, and the guys, you could tell they knew that was not going to continue. So can you just harness the focus in your individual at bats to try to creep and climb your way back into it, just one at bat at a time? And I think when that happens, and you can score 1 run, did we score 3 in the first? That just one like it just opens things up a little bit. So I thought it was big. That so much had happened. I can't tell you how that first run scored, but that was a big moment. And you saw the guys, like, quality of at bat was okay. Not the whole game, but there was enough sprinkled in there to find a way back in a very tough game. It was tough.
Abraham obviously pitched on huge stages. When you get the triple, got a third, one out, and for him to just kind of, I guess you can't overvalue that experience.
No, correct. And he knows there's one way to get out of that, and that is execute pitches. And I think breaking ball maybe with the punch out, and then got the ground ball and the change up. But the mixture of the secondary pitches is really good, and he knows how to use it now and where it needs to start and where he can go with it to finish hitters. And it was masterful. And the sink on the fastball, he's figured out how to manage that. Micah has done an outstanding job of helping him learn what he needs to do to be the best version of himself. And he just keeps going at it. More poised than he was before. And the maturity part's got to happen for a lot of our players, believe me. He's matured his way into being very in control and poised throughout tough pitches and tough innings and run game stuff and all the variables that the game throws at you.
Barnes has a big at bat in the ninth. He fouled off a couple, got the 3-2. You mentioned Eli's had a couple hard hits that just haven't produced. Carnes, I feel like the same just to get that for him. How big was it?
Yeah, that was a huge at bat, and he had another one early in the game. I think he hit the ball and stretched it and pushed it a little bit, and that was a big moment. And he's a talented player. And you look at Carnes and Miles, and we feel like they've been here. Well, they're just coming out of their freshman year, and they're 10 games into their sophomore year. So we're still learning. Like, those are good young players, and the combination of what Carnes did in that at bat, some of the other at bats, and then the way he blocked, like, really a special performance for him.
Carnes also took third on the fastball. Didn't look like a no doubter. I mean, is he just an aggressive base runner, or just a good base runner?
Both. Like, he's a very smart player, and once he gets going, he can run a little bit. Prototypically, you don't think your catchers move that well, but he does. And as they log games and innings and squatting, sometimes when you're 35 years old, it's a different look. But he can run. We'll figure it out. We kind of thought we were doing that today, and he was sored up. So we'll see how the throwing today went. Mike and I we didn't get that far yet, quite frankly, but hopefully he's okay. So that would line up, and if not, we have other options. But Mercer's going to be out of this same category of team. Very physical, very talented, experienced. So we've got our work cut out. I hope things went well. In the pregame throwing that Manka did to allow him to start.
It looked like Purcell was doing the long throw before game. I know he had the open picture, I think it was.
Yeah. I think they're going to get one bullpen in, and then he should be ready to go this weekend if the bullpen number one went well. It was about 85-90%, and this next one he'll dial it up a little more, and then he should be clear to help us this weekend, which we need.
The guys who pitched in the middle leagues tonight did a great job. How do you think their performance in this game will help them be more reliable going on forward?
Well, the confidence you have to believe would help, and O'Leary better threw some really good breaking balls, and Nard, they're totally different, but Nard sinking the fastball, I thought it had a little more life. I think we saw that breaking ball, if I caught it right, maybe 83 miles an hour, his little slider, so that's where it needs to be. And that combination and the opposite effect of the sinking fastball and the slider are great. We know the ball is going to be in play, so we have to play good defense. I think he got himself in trouble, maybe O'Leary too, with unnecessary walk, if there's a such thing. We feel like they're all unnecessary, but there's some competitive type walks that happen, but there were some uncharacteristic walks that put us in trouble there with, I think, O'Leary and Nard maybe.
Can you talk about the team's ability to implement some small ball tonight, getting that practice early in the year, so later in the year that'll be executable?
Yeah, we coming into the game, anytime you have a big left-handed pitcher, the short game does play into your favor because of just the way the field is and what they have to do to pick it up and throw it. So it was nice from a push some buttons standpoint to have it line up where you weren't forcing it. Like, those were traditional like bunt type situation. Stutzer maybe with the little safety would have been the one that might have been a little outside the norm of what he's done, but it was really good. And you know, that game required everything we could throw at the game to figure out a way to score one more run than they did, and the short game absolutely factored in.